Okay. Hey guys, it's Phantom, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast, of the Ask Phantom podcast. So, it's time for another shifting story. So I shifted last night to my Evangeline DR. And also, I won't just be talking about my shifting story time from last night, but I will also be updating you on some things. So last night I shifted to my Evangeline DR and some things went down. It got scary, okay? It got pretty scary. So it was just a normal evening. I remember in my DR I was reading. I was reading, listening to soft music, like a mix of classical music and just instrumental music. And looking at people painting and just doing stuff to relax me, to keep me relaxed. And some stuff happened. So this is in the future, so this is kind of in the future. Now a little bit, my DR kind of goes from early 2000s to mid 2000s to, present day. But anyway, so it was a little bit in the future, and right, a couple years later, and I'm in my DR just reading a book, reading a book, listening to music, watching art tutorials. I don't know, I was bored. I don't know. I was pretty bored in my DR, and most of the others were sleeping or working or whatever. And then I go to run errands with Delphine in my DR. Mind you, in my DR, my name is Penelope in my DR, but in my DR I go by Penny or Penelope. So she says, Penelope, we need to go run some errands for food and snacks and such. For for meals and such. So I go with her and one of her partners, and it gets so crazy. This is the part that gets crazy. Okay, so we're at this local place that we always go to, and the person they basically say that they're looking for someone. My siblings in my DR are looking for someone, and someone specifically who they came there with, and they can't find them. So I go off and order and get a and get a free little meal because, why not? And like, this is where it gets so crazy. So I'm like eating it, I'm like talking to one of the workers, like just conversating, and just conversating with them, and then that's when I start coughing, and the person thought that I was in some sort of danger, and they asked me if I was okay, and I said yes. It was so bad. It was like I had like excess mucus in my throat or something, and I just had to like cough it up, and I went home. And I finally went home. Like, Delphine found me, and we went home, and she's like, girl, are you okay? She's like, girl, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, just a little shaken up. And so I go home. Ryder is reading, or like Ryder is doing her homework. Mind you, a little bit of an update with my DR. Ryder is, they aren't non-binary, but they're gender fluid. Ryder is gender fluid and goes by any pronouns. And if you don't know who Ryder is in my DR, Ryder is Delphine's second eldest child. They are Delphine's son or daughter, whatever, like, they go by any pronouns, so it doesn't really bother them. Just in general, like, Ryder is Delphine's second eldest child, and since in my DR I am related to Delphine, in my DR I had scripted that I was Delphine's sister, that makes Ryder my niece and nephew at the same time. Or what they would call a nibbling or enbling. But again, Ryder doesn't really care what pronouns are used. So they basically, like, if Ryder is feeling femme one day, they go by she. If Ryder is feeling masc one day, then they go by he. It doesn't bother them. Just kind of a mix of both. Like, it's not that Ryder is confused, it's just they grew up gender fluid, so it doesn't really bother them. Anyway, yeah, Ryder grew up gender fluid, so yeah. And previously I did happen to mini shift. I did happen to mini shift, and Delphine told me, or like shift for a short amount of time, and Delphine actually told me kind of like how she raised Ryder. She did raise Ryder to be gender fluid, like to not, care about gender really. Just express themselves, how they want to express themselves. Because, fashion has no gender. Fashion has no gender, at all. Fashion has no gender. And, Delphine is goth. Delphine is goth. She's always been goth, pretty much. Like, she's never like the girly clothes. She's always liked goth because, like, that style, like, goth punk scene, but mainly goth. She's liked that style because, like, it goes with anything, and it looks good on anybody. Like, So yeah. Delphine told me that, she raised Ryder goth. And gender fluid, like always. Like, she said from the moment that Ryder could talk and was old enough to pick out their own clothes, they would always go to, like, goth stores and, like, pick a mix of femme and masc clothing. So they would also wear, like, gender neutral clothing as well. Gender neutral goth clothes as well, because again, goth looks good on anybody. It's not like she told me that, goth looks good on anybody. And I quote from Delphine, "We created goth," meaning Gen X created goth, okay? Like, Delphine is Gen X. And Gen X are known for being, like, adaptable. They can adapt, okay? They can adapt. Gen X are known for being very adaptable, very in the know, very, very techy, very tech savvy. Like, some people, like, okay, I don't know what it is with people calling Gen Xers Karens, but Gen Xers aren't Karens. Anyways, Delphine told me that, clothes are clothes. Clothes look good on anyone, especially goth clothes, and she said, and I quote, "We are the creators of goth. Gen X is the reason that goth exists." They're clothes. And the still rocks goth. So yeah, basically, she told me that Ryder was always into like both sections, couldn't choose, so Um, they always took home like half from, half from one section, another half from another section, and kind of organized their closet how they wanted. And then whenever they went into like beauty stores or whatever, they'd always go to like the wig section. I don't know, but whenever Ryder wanted to wear wigs, because they are gender fluid, so some people like wearing hair pieces to make them look more feminine. To bring out their feminine side. That's what they did. And it also does help that Delphine is a fashion designer, so that did help a lot of it. And I mean, sure, Ryder got comments, but they would just look at someone and be like, and not have to say anything, because everyone knew who their mother was, everyone knew who their parents were, so they were kind of scared of Delphine, because again, Delphine is that type of mom, and yes, I'm calling Delphine a mom because that's what she is. Delphine is that type of parent or that type of mother that will literally, get someone suspended if need be, get staff suspended or get staff fired or whatever. But yeah, Delphine is that type of mom that doesn't play around. In my opinion, don't mess with Gen Xers. I mean, again, I've already talked about Delphine's signs, astrological signs, but let me tell you what her signs are again for those that don't know. Let me tell you what her signs are again for those that don't know. Okay, so again, Delphine is the youngest, well, not youngest, but Delphine is one of the last people to be, or one of the younger Gen Xers, but she is still Gen X nonetheless, because Gen X stopped after 1980, and then it went to Zennials. So her husband, Delphine's husband, and one of their partners are Zennials. So it's confusing because her husband Jake was born between 80 and 81 on New Year's Eve. They were literally Ryder's dad is a New Year's Eve baby, as well as Ryder's uncle, Ryder and Farrah's uncle. They're New Year's and New Year's Eve babies, so it's a little confusing. But technically, They are a mix of Gen X and then Zennials. Um, so Delphine's chart. Um, she's a Libra sun, a Cancer moon, and a Libra rising. So people with Libra rising so they strive for harmony or whatever, but I mean, again, like Delphine is that type of mom you don't want to mess with. In general, Delphine knows things. Um, I wouldn't. I would call her kind of intuitive at times. You know, just like that intuition, like that natural intuition. Um, but like, I wouldn't say that she is. I wouldn't say if she's psychic or not because I don't know. Um, but you know, because it's rare. Anyway, yeah. She told me, you know, clothes are clothes. Um, like, you know, she said, I prefer goth, but like, do what you want. Um, but yeah, Delphine is extremely supportive with all of her kids. Delphine is like very, very, very supportive with like all of her kids. But she's very scary, so honestly, like, that's why half of the people that like look at Ryder, that look at her, that look at Delphine's child, again, Ryder is gender fluid, so it doesn't bother them whether they're called son or daughter or both. Like, she kind of just says half and half. She kind of just uses half and half. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, Delphine is extremely supportive. But yeah, Delphine has always been very supportive. Like Ryder's parents have been, like all of Ryder's parents have been very supportive. Jake and his brother are so supportive. Like it is the sweetest thing about how supportive okay, so basically what helps with, Ryder expressing themselves is that they have they're able to, like, they're known everywhere, okay? They're known everywhere, like their family is known everywhere. So, if they want to come in for a custom wig, like they already, like the people already know them, because like they literally have a huge closet. So like half has like mask clothing that they'd probably wear, and then the other half, which is like their femme clothing, is like a lot bigger. It's kind of the same on both sides. Like they both have like little doors or whatever, and then there's like little racks. There's racks where you can, put your clothes. Like they have a walk-in closet, so it's pretty big. So yeah. Delphine has connections, so. But yeah. Anyway, it's kind of like how Delphine is with everything. In fact, Delphine didn't even have like a Delphine didn't really have like a gender reveal, so to speak. Like she knew the gender of Ryder, like biological gender, but she's like, you know what, she kind of said that, like, that's not for her. That's not for her. I'll let my kids express themselves how they want. So yeah, that's kind of Delphine's stance on it. She's not for it or against it. Like, she doesn't care. She's like, she's that person that's like, as long as you're happy, I'll support you. Like, she's very supportive. And she helps with outfits. She helps design outfits. Because sometimes Ryder likes to have like have pantsuits in their closet. Like, those dressy pantsuits that's like half dress, half shirt and pants. So like if they're feeling feminine one day, they can wear the dress part with the pantsuit, and if they're feeling masculine, they can take the dress part off of the pantsuit and just wear the pantsuit as a pantsuit. Because, who am I kidding? Ryder looks good in anything. Ryder would look good in anything. There's nothing they don't look good in. There's nothing they don't look good in. And like Ryder literally looks good in everything that they put on. And they love styling, like they love styling wigs. Some hair pieces that they have are synthetic, but like heat safe, like synthetically heat safe hair. So yeah, you know, styles change, but the thing about goth is that anyone can wear it. You don't have to listen to bands to be goth. Let me just tell you that now. You can like wear the clothing. You don't have to listen to bands to be goth. Or to like love the goth vibes. I've been attracted to the goth style for years. Do I listen to punk music, or do I listen to that type of music genre? No. Like, do I listen to certain types of punk? Sure, it depends. I listen to what are they called? But again, you don't have to be into certain music genres to be goth, or scene or emo or whatever. Yeah, I like to listen to I Speak. Again, like, I have literally always been attracted to the goth subculture, I've always been attracted to certain subcultures. Not all subcultures of fashion I like, but some I do, and goth scene, emo, punk, and punk are what I was drawn to, and I'm still drawn to that. So, yeah. Like, to be honest, I have to agree with Delphine when she says, clothes are clothes. Anyone can look good in anything, and the fact that you don't have to listen to certain bands to like a certain style of clothing or a certain hairstyle or whatever. Like, I definitely agree with her on that. Because, again, it's for everybody. I've heard so many things over the years of, like, people being like, you're not this if you don't listen to, you're not this if you don't listen to this. And it's like, what kind of stereotype is that? Like, that is the dumbest stereotype I've ever heard. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this podcast episode. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Also, the podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, and other available platforms, as well as YouTube, so keep an eye out. Bye.